The Agile Toolkit. Hi, I'm your host, Bob Payne, and I'm here at Agile2016 with Josh Kerievsky. And it's been many years since we run across each other.
Yeah.
Because you sort of dropped out of the conference scene for a few years.
Little break, yes. I mean, I've been going to other conferences, but not
Conferences,
smaller
raising
ones
kids.
and raising kids.
Yeah. Good. So during your keynote, you talked about a framework that you're referring to as Modern Agile. What is that? Maybe you could describe that just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, first off, I don't call it a framework.
Okay.
I also don't call it a process. I really refer to it as a sticker.
Just Modern Agile.
We have a sticker. We've been giving it out. We gave out
Try to make it stick.
2,500 of them. If you're going to make something, if you want something to stick,
Right.
make a sticker.
Right.
That's the idea. So it's sticker first.
Okay.
There's a mobile app you can download to rotate the sticker. We've gotten that far. No, but it's basically four principles, and those principles are culled from the great work and great minds out there, people that have really helped to move things forward. And then what we've also observed in my company, Industrial Logic, in terms of what makes a difference. And it is a departure from what we've been doing in the past, in the sense that, it pushes the focus in a direction. Modern Agile says you got to focus on making people awesome. Whether it's through your product or your service, the focus is on making people awesome, both the people consuming the service or product and the people making it, and the people funding it.
Yeah, because traditionally Agile focuses very heavily on the people making it.
That's right.
Certainly lean discovery focused on the people consuming it.
Yes.
But you're lumping them into the make people awesome.
Yes, and so Make People Awesome is a little derived from Kathy Sierra's book, which is called Badass, Making Users Awesome, and she has a very valid focus there. The focus is we're not making an awesome product, we're not making an awesome company, although those are good things to do. Our focus is on making awesome users.
Right.
When I use some sort of software product, I'm awesome at taxes because I use that product, or I'm awesome at writing because I use this writing tool that makes me a really good writer. Whatever it is, the focus is on how do I make those users awesome, and that's a great and wonderful goal. However, if the people making that product or service are miserable while in the service of trying to create it, we think that's a problem too.
Right.
So make people awesome is more expansive, the focus being both those making it and both those consuming it.
And you drew from the other stakeholders in the value stream as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And so we're thinking about everyone in the ecosystem, we call it. How do we focus on making them happy, on making them awesome at their job? So that is the focus, and we always, when we look at some piece of work, we say, is it helping us move towards that? And so as a principle, it helps guide us.
Right. And then you put in experiments and continuous improvement.
Yes, experiment and learn rapidly is another principle, and smart companies have been basically doing this for a long time. They don't treat requirements as sacrosanct.
Right.
They say they're really a bunch of guesses or hypotheses, and we need to test them in experiments.
And the faster we can test, the better guesses we can make.
Right, and in my keynote I talked about Paul McCready, the guy that finally succeeded after 10 years of failures of teams trying to create an airplane that could be operated by humans, human-powered flight, no motors, human-powered flight. 10 years of failures, he came in and said the problem is that we don't know what the problem is. The problem is we really need to figure out what the problem is. I'm going to create a plane that
I can iterate on. Yeah, I actually didn't realize the Gossamer was a iterative build process. So
yes,
yeah,
some aluminum, some mylar, some wire, And within hours, he was
Some human
iterating.
growth hormones for the bicyclist in there.
Yes.
The problem is we need a Russian cyclist.
Yeah, right. So he'd make a plane, and in 2 hours he'd discover why it wasn't working well, and he'd remake it and try it again. And within hours, he was iterating on an hourly basis, making new planes. He'd make 4 planes in one day. The other competitors would spend 3 or 4 months making a plane, try it out, fail, go back to the drawing boards.
Right.
Rapid feedback loop. So experiment, learn rapidly. Very, very valuable. When we look at what we're working on. So we want to be experimental, whether it's adopting new process ideas like Modern Agile, or anything like mob programming, a practice like that. Hey, mob programming
what
comes along.
practices lead us to be able to deliver value fast?
Fast, with less pain and better safety. So that's experiment, learn rapid. And then there's deliver value continuously. Another third principle, which is basically the whole model of, Lean says, how do we go from concept to cash? How do we move that value faster and get it into the customer's hands? And that can be the case. Let's say you're writing a book. You're writing a book. You could sit there and spend months writing the book and not have anyone see it, not have anyone get any value, not get any feedback.
Right.
So there you're violating the experiment and learn rapidly. And you're not delivering anything. So the better way to write a book is write a little bit, get it out there, deliver value.
A lean pub model.
Right.
Sort of. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Deliver value, get some feedback. It's sort of this applies to things beyond software. It's another part of Modern Agile we say is we've gone beyond software.
That ship has sailed a long time ago.
We're not just focusing on software. This is a process stuff that tends to help us whether we're making products or services. So apply it to the book writing. Apply it to
HR.
HR. Apply it to marketing.
Yeah,
Yes,
I know.
exactly. You're
we've
reading
got
my
a couple
mind.
of clients that we're doing that for. We also have like a school that we're helping stand up a school.
Right.
So curriculum, teacher hiring, physical plant, not software, just
Absolutely.
regular project delivery.
And look at the way the people that run this conference at Agile2016, they run this using those models, right? They use an Agile model. So finally, there's make safety a prerequisite.
Yeah.
Probably the most enigmatic principle.
That is actually, I actually don't think it's that enigmatic. Maybe it is in that you extend it to the cultural safety.
Yes.
But one of the things that I think has been interesting is we've worked in regulated industries. Most of those regulations come out of some fear of, having a risk come to fruition. So all of that risk aversion, it gets pulled left and tested.
Yes.
And rather than paperwork,
Yes.
right, build the tests into a deployment pipeline, if that's
Right.
your model. Build
Yes.
the legal reviews in early when you're defining your content or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Safety both on the psychological side and safety in the things we're developing.
Right.
And so if your backlog is filled with things that aren't necessarily making you safer, making the end user safer, right? You can have the fanciest new music streaming service in the world.
Right.
But if it's deleting people's songs, it's not safe. No
Right.
one's going to use it. And I don't care how fancy the features are. So your backlog is
Right.
kind of missing the point of this practice.
Oh, yeah.
This principle.
And people are, like folks like Netflix are going to extremes to say safety of our streaming content is paramount. So we're going to release malware. Like, we're not going to just talk about being resilient.
That's right.
We're actually going to test.
The chaos monkey.
Yeah, the Simian army and the like. But I actually really like that as a twist away from what I think we've been talking about in the past, which is automated testing and test early, validate with your customers early.
Yes.
Those all seem to be practices and cost add, if you will, or psychologically it's like we've got to do all this testing. But I like twisting it towards the outcome.
Right.
Safety is the outcome.
That's right.
Right,
That's
rather
right.
than the practice. And that's the other thing that you talked about is moving more to an outcome-based and iterative incremental improvement on those outcomes rather than the training wheels.
That's right.
Or put the training wheels on safety rather than on pedaling.
That's right. So all 4 of those principles in Modern Agile are outcome-oriented.
Yeah.
Whether it's being awesome or learning a lot or delivering or safety, we're outcome oriented. We are more neutral when it comes to what practices do you do to achieve those principles, right? That's going to be up to you. And it's not just about software, so you could be delivering those things in a variety of ways. We don't know. But if you work backwards from the outcomes and start to find things that help bring those principles to fruition, and there's help along the way, right? You might need some help in how to establish psychological safety.
Yeah.
Or you might need some ideas around what does safety look like for you. But that's the idea.
Yep. And what level of safety you really want to go for. I think that's having the conversation when you're in early product validation, you might want cultural safety, but you may be okay with some outages early.
That's right.
If your primary goal is to validate with those Cookie Monster, they'll tolerate some downtime to get that new feature. So maybe testing is the big thing that you're going for.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. The other thing I'd say too is like the way we want to communicate this to people. Talk about stickiness, right? Rather than it being a framework or a process, we look at it as 4 principles and the stories we tell about them, right? The stories we tell about them are stories from all across the industry of teams and people doing this stuff. What did they do? And the stories can be sticky if they move us.
Yeah.
Right? So we want to tell moving stories about these things to help people learn what does it mean to be modern agile.
Right.
Rather than tell them exactly what to do. Because that doesn't tend to work too well.
Yeah, great. So what else has been interesting? Did you learn anything here at this conference? Because it's been a few years since you've been here. Is there something new you're taking away? Or?
Well, honestly, I've been so focused on the keynote, and that was Monday and Tuesday. I prepared.
Right.
I was changing my slides as I often do up to the very last minute. So I can't say that I came away having gone to many sessions so far, unfortunately. It's just I haven't been that kind of participant. Been exhausted ever since I gave the speech. So but what could I say have I learned so far? I think one thing I've learned is that there's interest in going beyond the old-fashioned stuff, right? That validated for me that people are interested in more updated ways of doing things.
Yep.
So that was interesting to see that. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Josh. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure to see you again.
I know.
Yeah.
The one thing that I've learned about this conference is there are a lot more people I know here than there have been in the past few years, or at least my interactions with them have been a lot more rich. And I'm not sure whether it's just the venue or the volume.
Yes.
With 2,500 people, you're more likely to know more people. I guess.
Right. Yeah, it is. It's been great seeing all the old friends and things like that. So yes. Very cool. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay.